Hi, everyone. I'm just going to give another minute to let some more people come on in, and then we will get started. Hope everyone's having a great Tuesday. Okay. Welcome. My name is Carmen, and I'm the training coordinator at the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start and grow. We provide free one-on-one counseling and a variety of low to no cost webinars, and we are proud to be a part of the nationally accredited network of SBDCs with over 1,000 centers across the United States. You have joined us today for Pinterest 101, and a copy of today's PowerPoint and a link to the recording of this session will be sent out to all attendees in a follow-up email. While all attendees have been muted, we encourage you to post any questions in the chat or Q&A. And now I will turn the floor over to Julia.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, we'll definitely have time for questions at the end, or if you need any clarification on, something I'm talking about in the moment, feel free to, drop your questions in and I'll try to address them. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so we are talking about Pinterest today. We're going to cover a little bit on how to set up an account, just to kind of cover the basic information, and then we're going to dive into some strategies to help you get some traffic and hopefully some more leads to your business. So for just a little bit about me, I'm an SEO and Pinterest consultant because, as you'll learn in this presentation, Pinterest is actually a search engine similar to Google, and I work with my clients to help them rank both on Google and Pinterest to reach their clients organically. So like I said, Pinterest is actually a search engine. So it kind of gets lumped into social media. Like if you ever check your traffic in Google Analytics, Pinterest is always under the social media button. It's not typically, categorized as a search engine, but that's actually what it is. It's a visual search engine because unlike, something like Google, where if you're searching, you'll see, the title of a website and, a little snippet about it. On Pinterest, you see, like this example here, they're graphics or pictures. So you're not going to see like the name of the website or information about it. You're going to see these images when you're searching for things. There are some social media qualities, so you can have followers, people can like and comment on pins, but typically it's used more for the search engine rather than for kind of like following people to get life updates or something like that. When people are going to Pinterest, they are going, to find ideas, inspiration, products. Products are getting really big on Pinterest right now, and they're not typically going to kind of like, follow people and see what's, new with them. So there are lots of benefits to being on Pinterest over other search engines, I think at least. One of the main things is that pins can last for a really long time on Pinterest. I have seen pins for my clients from 2009 that are still bringing them traffic. So unlike Facebook and Instagram, where links and images will stop being shown to your audience after like 24 to 36 hours, pins can actually last from months to even years and give you some really good sustainable traffic. So it's a good platform if you're interested in, trying something that is more long-term and more sustainable. It's not going to give you like, quick traffic if you just set up your account today. It is definitely more of a long-term strategy, but it can bring you tons of traffic, for months or even years to come if you, get started soon. So like I said, people are coming to Pinterest to search for things, not necessarily to, follow accounts or things like that. So if you're able to answer their questions or, give them inspiration or show off your products, something that they are searching for, they're much more likely to be in the purchasing mindset or, the subscribing mindset, rather than, when you're just kind of scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and you just, like whatever you see, but you may not be, super interested in that product right then and there. But people coming to Pinterest are searching for, something that they're looking for an answer or topic or something like that. So it's a good way to get a lot more, traffic and reach people who are definitely interested in what you have to offer. So you can have followers on Pinterest, but they really don't matter. They aren't going to necessarily help your content rank higher on Pinterest. So this is kind of known as the introverts platform, because you don't have to, put your face out there, be super active to try to get followers to like your content, to, comment on things. So it's really nice. You don't have to try to get followers. You can just put your content out on Pinterest and, kind of watch it rank and give you some more traffic. So people come to Pinterest to spend money. So it's a really great platform actually for ads. We're not going to really be covering ads in this presentation, because this is more about organic strategies with Pinterest. But one really cool thing about Pinterest is people can actually save the ad pins that they see. So even when you stop putting money behind an ad, if someone has saved that pin, you can still get organic traffic from that ad. So I recently ran an ad for a client, and within a couple of days, her pin was already getting dozens of saves. So once she's done running that ad, her pin is still going to drive a bunch of traffic to, her site, even though she's not putting any more money behind it. So unlike Facebook or, Instagram, once you stop putting money behind that ad, no one else is going to see it. It's very different on Pinterest. So it can also be a really good long-term strategy for ads if that's something that you're interested in. So we'll just kind of cover the basics of setting up an account. It's free, it's super easy. You just need your name, email, password, that kind of thing. If you do have a website, you can claim it. So that way you can have access to analytics to see how your pins that are linked to your website specifically are performing. You can also get much more details on the analytics. There's also rich pins, so you can get more information showing up with your pins that are ranking on Pinterest, rather than if you don't have a website claimed, you're not going to have these perks. So it's super easy. You'll just get like a snippet of code that you have to add to the head file on your website. And then when you set up your profile, you can set up the photo. So, either a photo of you or your product or your logo, something like that. Set up your name. You can add kind of like a tagline on, what your business is about, or, try to, incorporate some keywords in there. And then you can also add a little bio. Pinterest did actually recently expand how much space that you can have on your bio. So that's really nice. You can add some more details. And this is important to help Pinterest understand, kind of what your account is about, to know what to rank your pins for. But people can also search specifically for profiles on Pinterest. So if they do want to follow them, or if they want to just find a specific type of business to, check out all of their pins or all of their products or something like that. So this will help your profile rank as well. So once you're done, this is kind of, what it's going to look like. You can also set like this banner image. You can have it, be an actual image from, your website, like a gallery of your products or something like that. Or you can have it set to be, kind of a gallery of your most recent pins. So you can kind of like test out to see, if you see one that's working better, or if you want to test out different like brand images or something like that, you can do that there. So once you kind of have your profile set up, you want to create boards. So when you create a pin on Pinterest, it needs to have a place to go. So these are kind of just like different categories. You don't need to have a ton of them. I've seen accounts that have like hundreds of them, but honestly, as a someone managing that account, that's going to be way too hard to keep up with and remember all of the different boards. So you can just start with 5 to 10 and kind of add more if you need them. Or if you have a bunch of boards right now, you can definitely consolidate them so that way you don't have so many and you can't remember where all of them are. You do want to make sure that you're adding a descriptive title to it as well as a description. Again, because Pinterest is a search engine, this gives Pinterest some more information to understand what content is going to the boards. So instead of having just a board that says, something like products, be specific about what type of product it is or what type of product category. And also people can search for boards on Pinterest. So, if they want to see a bunch of content related to one topic, that's an easy way for them to be able to find it. I've also seen boards rank well on Google. So the more information that you add in the title and the more descriptive you are in the description, that can actually help your board rank on Google and get some, extra traffic that way. And you do want to make sure that all of the boards are related to your business. If you have, something that is completely unrelated, so I have a board for recipes, which has nothing to do with, Pinterest or SEO, that kind of thing. So I have that board secret, so that way everything, all the public boards are on brand. So that way Pinterest isn't confused about, kind of what the main topics of my business are about. So now you want to be able to create pins. So like I said before, when you are searching for something on Pinterest, what you're going to see in the search results are these pins. So these can just be regular pictures, or they can be like graphics. You do want to make sure that the images are vertical. Horizontal images look a lot smaller on Pinterest just because of the Pinterest layout. So the longer images, those are going to take up more space and be more eye-catching. You don't want to create super, super long pins. This was a strategy that people were doing a couple of years ago because those take up a ton of space on Pinterest, but Pinterest kind of wised up to that and started cutting them off. So don't create super long ones, but just kind of the standard 2x3 image size. You do want to make sure everything is very clear and easy to read, especially because more people are using their phones for Pinterest. So if you have a ton of text on a pin, or it gets really small, or really thin script fonts, those are a lot harder to read, both on desktop, but also especially on your phone. So you do want to make sure you're, kind of just using a few words on a pin. It's very bold, eye-catching, and very easy to read. You want to make sure things are easy to read before you kind of get a little crazy with, adding colors or, different things. And you don't want to have it too busy with text on top of a very busy image or something like that. So if you need some ideas, you can just go to Pinterest and kind of search to see, both what is ranking well, but also what stands out the most to you. You want to make sure everything is on brand. So, my colors, as you can see, are blues and teals. So I'm not going to have bright red or, neon orange text or something like that on my pin, because when someone clicks on the pin and goes to my website, it looks very different. So it might not be what they're expecting, or it might look, like the link is incorrect or something like that, and if it wasn't matching what they were expecting. So keep everything on brand. You can keep it simple before you start adding in, if you have different brand elements or something like that. If you want to kind of get started with pin designs, you can use Canva. They have a free option and they have some templates for Pinterest already uploaded. So you kind of get started with that. And then you do want to make sure that you're using a couple different, keywords or phrases on the pins itself, because Pinterest AI is getting a lot smarter and they can actually start to read that now. So if you just have one word, again, products on your pins, that's not giving Pinterest, good information. And it's also not giving, people who are looking at that pin any information to know that they want to click through to your website or something like that. And you don't need to use hashtags. This was something that Pinterest did test out a couple of years ago, but then it kind of got overrun by spammy accounts. So Pinterest says do not use hashtags at all. So don't worry about doing anything like that. You just need to worry about, creating, a good pin design, having a title, and then a description that is, uses keywords and is very informative about what people are going to get when they click through to your website. So I've mentioned keywords a couple of times. Pinterest does not have the best keyword research capabilities. If you've ever done keyword research for SEO, there are a million different tools out there that you can use. So Pinterest, they are trying out new things, but they're not quite there yet. But you can, search in the search bar on Pinterest, and it will auto-populate with what other people have searched before. So that way you can get a little bit more specific on, if you need topic ideas for your content, or if you want to see kind of how people are describing different products. This is where you can kind of see what people are searching, and you can see, what is currently ranking for these keywords. And, if you're seeing a very general, broad keyword that, has tons and tons of pins, you may want to start getting a little bit more specific, so that way you do have a better opportunity to rank for that.
Julia, while we have a
Mhm.
second here, Lori asked in the chat, can you only sell services on Pinterest?
No, so you can definitely sell products. This is something that Pinterest has started focusing a lot more on in the past like year and a half. If you are on Shopify, you can actually integrate your products directly onto Pinterest itself. And I think they're starting to test out like being able to purchase products directly on Pinterest, so you don't even have to go through the website. But you can definitely sell products. I'm going to get into an example of kind of different things you could test out for products. But you can you can add whatever content you want pretty much to Pinterest. If you have like a YouTube channel, you can add YouTube videos directly onto Pinterest. If you have blog content, products, different things like that. They don't recommend pinning like Instagram posts, and you can't really get analytics for that anymore. But like anything that's on your website, if you have like email freebies, if you have a landing page for that, you can pin that. So you don't have to just pin, blog posts or something like that. There are lots of different options that you can pin.
Thank you.
So with keyword research, Pinterest did introduce a keyword research tool fairly recently. It is limited on which countries are able to use it, and it is also very limited on the types of topics that are on there. So if you can try to use it, it's called Pinterest Trends, and you can, it kind of just has general broad topics right now. So it doesn't have a lot of very specific ones. It also doesn't cover a bunch of industries. So if you try to use it and you see that, topics that you're searching for aren't on Pinterest Trends at all, that doesn't mean that those topics aren't on Pinterest. It just means Pinterest Trends doesn't have a ton of data right now. But if you are able to use it, it's pretty helpful to kind of see both the search volume, but also kind of the trends over time. So you can see when different types of topics are the most popular throughout the year. And that can help you kind of like plan out your content or plan when you need to start, pushing things on Pinterest.
Sorry, Julia, one more question. Can an export and import business also advertise on Pinterest as well?
As far as I know, there aren't many limitations with advertising on Pinterest. I would check to see, if your industry is on Pinterest, if people are searching for that. I will say Pinterest has gotten a lot more strict with, I don't think you can advertise anything political, COVID related, or they've gotten a lot more strict on like beauty terms. So like, fad diets or things like that. But I think those are the only limitations with advertising. But again, check to make sure that your industry is on Pinterest and people are searching for those topics before you, start spending money there. All right, so once you kind of have the information, you have some, pins created and that kind of thing, you do want to create a Pinterest strategy. The main thing that you want to be doing is pinning every single day. If this sounds super overwhelming, don't worry, we're going to cover a Pinterest scheduler that you can use. Even if that's just one pin a day, just something to get started, that's totally fine. The main thing is you want to be consistent on there, because a lot of times people will, start using Pinterest for like 2 months and then they, stop posting anything for 2 months and then their traffic just drops off. So even if it's just one a day, just to get something on Pinterest, that's better than nothing. You don't need to be pinning a ton of content every single day, even if you do have a ton of content. Pinterest kind of has shut down accounts that are like, have gone really crazy with pinning like 100 pins a day or something like that. So you do want to keep it like under 30. I usually advise pinning between 2 and maybe 7 times a day if you have the content for that. But again, just once a day to get started is totally fine. And you want to make sure that you are pinning around your main business goal. So if that is products, then, focus more on pinning products than like your content. If you want to get more email subscribers, pin content that, is driving people to sign up for your email list. You can create landing pages on your website and then like embed the email signups. And pin that page directly to Pinterest. If you want to get more YouTube subscribers, focus on pinning to YouTube. So kind of whatever your main goal is, whatever, kind of gets people into your sales funnel, or however it is that you get customers, that's what you want to be focusing on Pinterest. You don't want to just, create a bunch of content on your website just to get traffic from Pinterest. You do want to make sure that you're using that traffic to help you grow your business. If you don't have a ton of content right now, you can definitely pin from other websites to kind of help you be consistent every day, help you build up your profile. You do want to make sure that you are, pinning at least some of your content in there. Don't just pin from other websites for, a few months. And you can create multiple graphics for your pins, so that way you do have, different content to be pinning, even if it goes to the same link, just to give some, fresh content on Pinterest. But I wouldn't recommend, creating 30 graphics for one blog post and like promoting that one post for an entire month. You do want to space out your content if you do have, a bit of content that you can put on Pinterest. And then you do want to make sure that you add social media sharing buttons to your website. So like if you have blog posts that you're sharing on Pinterest, add those buttons to, encourage people to share it to Pinterest, as well as your other social media channels. Because the, more people that are putting your content on Pinterest, the more it's going to help it grow as well. So like I said, we're going to be covering a bit of products. So this is something that Pinterest is focusing more on, especially in the future. They're testing out more things. So if you sell products, this is a really great time to, test out different Pinterest strategies. So you can test out creating graphics. So especially if you have different product categories, you can, create graphics for those, but you can just pin the actual product images directly to Pinterest as well. I would recommend, making sure you're testing out different types of images. So, the product being, if it's a shirt, the product like being worn by someone, the product, just laying flat, showing different colors, just to see what performs the best on Pinterest, because it, things can vary depending on the product. And also it's very different from Instagram, because actually showing the product without people's faces performs the best, rather than on Instagram. People like to see people's faces. But you can see even in this example, all of the images that are showing a person is just like from the neck down. It's not showing anyone's faces. So kind of test out different things to see, what works the best. And then you do want to add, in the description, information about the product. Especially because if, for example, it's like a vegan leather purse or something like that, if someone is searching specifically for vegan leather, that's going to help your product rank, a lot higher in the search results. And then you do want to make sure that what they are seeing on Pinterest matches what they, are seeing when they get to the website. So adding things like the pricing information. So if they look at a bag and they think it's, might be $30, but then they get to your website and it's like $3,000, they're likely not in the mindset to be purchasing that, because it doesn't match what they were expecting when they saw it on Pinterest. And then I do recommend adding content to your website if you don't have it already. So that can be things like gift guides, maybe showing off different products for different seasons that you have or something like that. Because people do like going to Pinterest to search, for answers or for inspiration. So, if you are able to kind of like capture their attention in that way, rather than if they're just searching specifically for products, that can be a good way to, still get them to become a customer. And video pins, so these are also going to work pretty well for products. I will say for like service-based businesses, video pins are a little trickier because people watch them without like their volume on. So it does need to be something that is more like visually appealing, something that's going to catch their attention rather than, just talking in front of the camera or something like that. And then square videos actually perform the best rather than vertical ones. And then since people don't listen to it with the volume on, you don't need to worry about adding audio if that's, not something that you want to do. And then one thing to know is that click rates for videos are lower than regular standard pins, because people are able to kind of like consume the content in the video rather than needing to go to the website. So make sure that you aren't giving away, all of the information related to the video on Pinterest. You do want to encourage them to go to the website. And then especially for products, you do want to encourage them to go to the website and encourage them to buy. So make sure they know it's a product and not just someone showing off their outfit or something like that. Idea pins are the latest feature on Pinterest, and they're always changing. So this might be completely different in 6 months. But this is kind of a social media feature that Pinterest has introduced. It's similar to Instagram stories, but they don't expire after 24 hours. So they'll always live on your profile and they can rank. The downside is you can't link them to something. This is starting to change. They're testing things out for products in videos or product pins, but you can't link as easily to like just a regular standard pin. So that is something that's a little annoying for people because they aren't going to drive the amount of traffic that regular pins are, but they can be really good for brand awareness, or again, if you have a very visual business, if you have products, it can be a good way to kind of like show off your work or show off whatever product that you have and encourage people to like go to the link in your profile to go to your website. So you do want to encourage people, to visit your website. If you are able to link, and again, this might change in 6 months and maybe everyone will be able to link it with idea pins. But if you want to be driving traffic, you do need to kind of like have a call to action at the end to encourage people to visit your website. One nice thing about it is that you can see live data on each individual idea pin. So as soon as people start watching it, you can see how many people have seen it. People can also save idea pins. They can react to it. So you can kind of get an idea of like which idea pin, topics are performing the best based on like how many, reactions or saves or, that kind of thing. And then you can have a mix of video and photos, or if you just want to do videos or just photos, you can definitely do that. You can test things out to kind of see what performs the best for you.
Quick question, Julia.
Yep.
Josie is asking, just curious, why would they listen to videos without audio on?
I'm not sure. I think people just, since videos are fairly new to Pinterest, it's not something that people are used to watching like you are on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. So the sound doesn't automatically turn on for the videos. You do need to like click to turn the volume on. So that's why people just aren't like listening to the videos the same way that they are on other platforms. All right, so once you get started on Pinterest, you start getting some traffic. You can track this in Pinterest Analytics. So they have their own analytics system. I do recommend still, tracking things in Google Analytics as well if you have Google Analytics set up, because you can get a better idea of what people are doing once they go from Pinterest to your website. You can see how long they're staying on your website, how many pages they're going to and that kind of thing. But Pinterest Analytics is helpful for kind of seeing which exact pins are performing the best, or tracking your overall traffic and things like that. You can also sort by different metrics. So this one is for like impressions. So that's how many people have seen your pin in the past month. You can also sort by how many people have clicked from your pin to your website, or how many people have saved your pins. So there are different metrics that you can track. The most important one is definitely the traffic to your website. So that's outbound clicks. So you do want to make sure that you're getting traffic from Pinterest and people just aren't looking at your pins and then not clicking through to your website. And one thing that's really nice on Pinterest Analytics is you can actually see the exact pins that are bringing traffic to your site, or getting the most impressions, getting the most saves, that kind of thing. So that way you can see what types of pins perform the best. So if you're testing out different graphic designs or different product images, things like that, this is where you can see what is performing the best to kind of help you with your strategy going forward. And then, like I said before, we're going to cover a scheduler, so that way you don't have to manually be pinning in Pinterest every single day if you don't want to. Tailwind is kind of the main Pinterest scheduler. There are social media schedulers that are adding on Pinterest scheduling to them. So you can check to see, like, if you are currently using a social media scheduler, you can see if they've added Pinterest on. But Tailwind was created specifically for Pinterest scheduling. So this is kind of like the main one that people have been using, for the past few years. It's really nice because it will automatically create a Pinterest schedule for you. So that way you don't have to like worry about figuring out which, times would be the best, or, things like that. You can also adjust the schedule. So you don't need to like, be pinning as many times a day. If you don't have a bunch of content, you can definitely, adjust the schedule for that. And then it also has communities. So that way you can kind of connect with other pinners that are in similar niches and get your content in front of more eyes. So with communities, they're similar to like the Pinterest group boards. If you've been around on Pinterest for a while, you may have seen these. But the idea was for, a bunch of people in an industry to join a group board, and then, everyone would kind of share each other's content. But there was no way to kind of track that like accountability. So people would kind of just put all their content on a group board and then not like reciprocate. So Tailwind took that concept and then they, created communities. So you can actually track how many, pins you've added to a particular community and how many pins from that community you've shared. So different communities have different, rules. It's typically like for every pin that you add, add someone else's pin, to your account. And you can also create your own community. So like if you just want to have a community of your own, friends or people that you can definitely do something like that. But it's nice, especially for getting started on Pinterest, to kind of help, give your content a boost and give it, pinned by some more people to begin with. So that's kind of wrapping up. I know that was kind of going through things very quickly. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know. But kind of the main things, you want to make sure that you're keeping everything on brand. You're testing out different strategies to see what works the best. Pinterest is definitely a long-term strategy. So if you test something today, you're not going to see the results, tomorrow. You do need to give it some time to start to see the traffic and the traction from that. Make sure that everything that you are putting on Pinterest aligns with your main, goals, and you're not just kind of like putting content on there just to like, get traffic to your site for the sake of traffic. You can use schedulers like Tailwind if you don't want to be manually, pinning in Pinterest every day. Though I will say you cannot currently schedule out idea pins because those are new. So you do need to be manually adding idea pins if that's something that you want to test out. And then you need to give Pinterest time to gain traction. Typically, I recommend if you're brand new to Pinterest, give it at least 3 or 4 months before, to see how things perform. And then if you're not seeing any traffic after that time, Pinterest might not be, the best platform for your business. But it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of, investment to get started with Pinterest and, start to see it gain traction. If you have any questions, let me know. You can follow or you can email me at julia@juliareneeconsulting.com.
Thank you, Julia. I'll give a few more minutes for questions since we do have a little bit of time left. Johan is asking, do we plan to do a Pinterest webinars, i.e. Pinterest 102? And I don't think we have any scheduled, do we?
No, the same one is scheduled for July, but I don't know of any part 2.
Yeah, I don't believe we have a part 2, but this runs every month or 2 months. So if you need a refresher, you're always welcome to join the next one, and we will be sending out these slides as well. Okay, and Ashley's asking, is it best to manage your profile on the app or desktop?
Whatever is easier for you. There's no significant difference with them. I prefer desktop just because, especially for scheduling, that's easier. But for things like idea pins, it can be easier to do that on mobile.
Okay, thank you. And we are looking pretty good in the chat. So I can give another minute or two. I also posted a link in the chat to a quick survey. It takes about less than a minute, and we really value your guys' feedback on all these webinars. So if everyone could take a minute to just fill that out, my team would be super appreciative. And on that, Julia, if you have anything left, if not, I think we're good to close out.
Okay. Yeah, just let me know if you guys think of any questions or run into any issues as you get started with Pinterest.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks.